I want to apologize to everybody. I've not done a video here on RV travel and living in a while. It's been a while, and I apologize for that. But today we're back. As you know, cold season in an RV can be quite complicated. I know for me, I really kind of messed up in the beginning. For me, when I had my RV, I didn't prepare myself properly for it. In other words, I didn't fill up the tanks of water. I didn't have the proper propane. So I'm going to give you some guidelines with things you could do and kind of be prepared for cold weather. Winterize your RV. First things first, you got to know your RV. You got to know your rig. You got to know everything about it. I don't care if it's a camper. I don't care if it's a fifth wheel. I don't care if it's Class A, B, or C. You got to know your rig. Common sense tells you if it's 30 degrees outside and the water's flowing in the RV park, a lot of RV parks will turn off the water. And so you'll find yourself in a situation with no water. Make sure you keep your tanks filled up. And the reason why you want to do that, if they turn off the water, you want your tanks full of water so you can have water available. It's really easy if you're already there. If you're on the road, make sure you keep your tanks filled up. Proper care of the RV is very, very you need to do that. It's like taking care of your car because it'll take care of you. Knowing your furnace, knowing pieces, parts your furnace, knowing how you're going to keep yourself cool and warm in cold times. We often don't really think about this, but your furnace is a very important factor. Also, your detectors in your home, make sure you have all your detectors, your smoke, your fire alarm detectors. Make sure you have a fire extinguisher. Make sure you always have your carbon monoxide detector full of batteries and ready to go off if something happens. We know a lot of times that you're in the RV, it's really cold, you really don't know what to do, and you're freezing to death. I'm going to give you a few tips here. Please don't use extension cords in your RV. If you're at a park or somewhere you can, or somewhere you can plug in, extend an extension cord outside your RV, run it in through a window or something, make sure you just close it off and seal it, and plug it into a different power supply. Because if you put too much power on your service, especially extension cords, so you're going to run a heater, it gets quite unbearable sometimes, and it can cause a fire, and you don't want that. Like I said, make sure that you have towels. You take a shower, you come out, you want to step on a something warm. You don't want to step anything cold. Of course, blankets, shoes, socks, fluffy socks, whatever you like. Because cold is cold no matter what it is. Once you touch it, you're cold all over for a while, right? Make sure also, if you're walking outside your camper and you're walking on stairs, make sure you have, because all the stairs, depending, they have carpet or non-carpet or aluminum. They're going to freeze with water or ice. So make sure you have a box of rock salt or any kind of table salt around where you can actually de-ice it. Got to be careful with that too. If it gets too cold, you de-ice it and it's going to freeze again. So you got to constantly keep an eye on it. So make sure you're careful, because you open that door, all the air is going to go out, and you're messing around, all the heat out of your camper is going to go outside. And you don't want to heat the outside. You want to heat the inside, right? A lot of these campers have fireplaces and things like that in them that you can actually stay semi-warm in a small area. A lot of times, too, the best way to do it is cuddle and everything else, right? Uh, like I said, make sure you have all the batteries. It's very important for all your smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, towels for the floor, towels when you get out of the bed, or a rug where you put your foot on the ground. And a lot of people wear booties or shoes, you know. You got to have a plan in an RV. The most important thing is make sure you plan for things that may happen. For example, make sure if you have a 2-tank system, make sure you bring an extra couple tanks. So you have 4 tanks available. Because if you're there, or you're on the road, or you're somewhere, and you're going to easily go through 1 or 2 tanks. Whether you have a switchable system where it automatically switches, or you got to do it by hand, you want to kind of know what's going on there. And there's a couple ones out there. Gas Buddy's one where it gives you the actual fuel that's in propane's in the tank, and it shows the level. There's actually one automatically switches from one tank to another. You can actually purchase out there. I forget the name brands of those. I should actually call them and find out, because I could put them in my affiliate links. But you have those, but make sure you have enough propane. For me, what I did wrong, let me tell you what I did wrong. My hose, when I hook up my water hose to the RV, I had it fine and everything else. I did not fill up my tanks. The hose froze and busted. Not only did it freeze, it busted. It just busted. So you got to be prepared for that. And I didn't have enough water inside the camper to sustain myself because I'm working all the time. And as you know, you're not thinking properly when you work all the time. 16, 17 hours a day I was working. So I was not thinking properly. I was not prepared. I did not know a winter storm's coming to Florida. And it started snowing. Believe it or not, it started snowing in Florida. In Daytona Beach, Florida. Go figure, right? DeLand, Florida, it snowed. So you have to be kind of prepared for that. Make sure you have on your water system, make sure you have a filtration system. You don't want to drink that water that's coming out of your tanks unless it's been going through some type of filter. Even though you clean them and you do everything properly, a lot of times water gets stagnant, it stays in there, and you may not get all of it out. It can get contaminated. But just make sure you have a good water filtration system, whether you put it on the sink or internal or whatever. And if you have one, make sure you keep it in a controlled area because that can freeze and burst. So, for an example, what I did after I learned a big lesson, I lined my doors and lined the bottom of mine all the way around with insulation and protected it. So when storms would come, all I did was go outside, and I had these wooden things made with styrofoam. I just put them around my camper. It looked really nice. It was presentable, and it kept undercarriage of the camper nice and toasty. Although it did get cold, but it was a lot better when my foot hit the floor than hitting it on something that was cold. So little things like that really make a difference. Make sure you always keep, like I said, fresh water full. Skirting, all the way around, some type of skirting. You can make them. You can buy it. You can buy them. A nice skirting, insulated skirting. There's many things you do. A lot of it is just common sense about how to keep the cold out. A lot of people already know, you guys know this, and you may not, even if you live in the South, you're going to know how to keep yourself, because a lot of southern homes have septics and they have wells and things like that. And make sure you have a water hose that's heated. So you plug it in, and it's a heated tape with heated tape to keep the from freezing. So when it does go in your camper. Now, like I said, a lot of RV parks will turn off the water. So you got to be prepared for that also. RV heat, it does get cold. And it's going to get down, say it gets down in 30s, water's going to freeze no matter what. It's just going to freeze. And you're going to have that situation happen. So you got to kind of be prepared for that. The water itself, an RV, the temperature of the RV water inside will not, unless it's just freezing cold in there, will not freeze inside. But it may freeze on the outside and the undercarriages and things like that. So if you have, say, your filters downstairs, make sure you cover them properly. There are units available where you can actually set the filters, water filters, into this bag. And this bag, and it's heated bag, and you just plug that in. It takes very low voltage. Some are battery driven, meaning lithium batteries, and they're heated up by their solar panels, if you have solar panels. If not, they heat up with the power when you turn on the furnace, or however you have it wired. A lot of guys, what they also do is they prepare their rig inside for cold. In other words, they'll keep extra water for if they have to use the shower, or extra water available where they can heat it up, like a 5-gallon container, or containers of water inside that they can actually use. If the water happens to freeze and you're not able to do it, they keep water inside. And so there's certain things that you can do to be prepared for that. I always stayed warm and toasty in mine. I got to tell you, I had RV, I had a heater. Now, it's not in Florida, really didn't get cold, but there were times where it touched 30. Even 40 degrees is cold. Even 50 degrees is cold when you're not used to it, and you have used to 80, 90 degree weather with high humidity. Even Florida got cold for me. Now, I wasn't always living in Florida. I lived in Buffalo. So I understand how cold it is, and I understand what it is to be cold. I mean, I learned really quick not to walk outside unless I had a pair of gloves on. I learned really quick to make sure my neck and face was covered up, because that wind would actually burn your face with the wind coming off those legs, and your face would be like this, and it'd be just solid red right there where it's burnt. I did get frostbite on my fingers and toes because of me not being prepared. Always be prepared. Wear layers is the key. When you go to bed, wear layers if you have to stay warm. I want to thank everybody for always watching my videos, and thank you so much for coming on my RV travel living. I apologize for not putting on a video in a while. So thank you so much. God bless everybody. And I'll see you guys next time on RV Travel and Living.